President Donald Trump celebrated a 6-3 Supreme Court decision that limits nationwide injunctions issued by lower court judges against his executive order to effectively end birthright citizenship. The justices did not weigh in on the constitutionality of the order, allowing legal challenges to continue. Attorney General Pam Bondi acknowledged that the justices will rule on the merits of Trump's Day 1 order during their next term, which starts in October. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled 6-3 in favor of parents seeking to opt their children out of public school instruction that conflicts with sincerely held religious beliefs. The case involved a group of Christian, Muslim, and Jewish parents from Montgomery County, Maryland, who sought an exemption from reading LGBTQ-themed storybooks. Justice Samuel Alito wrote at refusing to allow parents to opt out their kids from instruction that poses a very real threat of undermining their religious beliefs and practices, violates the First Amendment protections for religious exercise. The S&P 500 index reached an all-time high on June 27, 2025, climbing 0.3% to 6,156. This milestone comes after a 20% surge since April's low, despite concerns about tariffs and war in the Middle East. The tech-heavy Nasdaq has climbed 28%, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average has jumped 12%. Analysts attribute this growth to a dialed-back tariff posture and continued economic expansion. A Florida woman was in her mobile home when a tornado lifted it off its foundation on June 27, 2025. The owner described the experience as like a Wizard of Oz experience. The incident occurred during severe weather that triggered tornadoes and damaged structures in the Midwest and Southeast. A bear and coyote were seen taking a nighttime stroll in video footage released by authorities in Altadena, California. The unusual sighting occurred on June 27, 2025, amidst the area's ongoing recovery from wildfires. A Texas highway was shut down for several hours on June 27, 2025, after a 64-year-old woman involved in a crash pulled out a gun and sat in one of the lanes in a lawn chair. The standoff lasted until authorities were able to safely apprehend her without incident. The Supreme Court ruled that the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force, which determines what preventive health care services insurers must cover at no cost under the Affordable Care Act, is constitutional. The 6-3 vote was a relief to public health advocates and medical groups who feared cancellation of the task force would be devastating to Americans' health. Roughly 150 million Americans have benefited from the no-cost provision, which covers treatments such as cancer screenings, cholesterol-lowering medications, and HIV prevention drugs. President Donald Trump is pushing the One Big Beautiful Bill Act as Senate Republicans try to meet his 4th of July deadline for passage. The Senate GOP will discuss the Megabill at its lunch Friday afternoon, while they work to resolve outstanding issues. Trump appeared non-committal about the deadline, saying it's important but not the end-all. House Speaker Mike Johnson suggested the deadline could slide, stating that the House can't make final decisions until the bill passes in the Senate. The Trump administration is set to eliminate the 30-day warning period before fining those in the U.S. illegally, up to $1,000 per day. The new rule will apply to those who enter the U.S. illegally, ignore final orders of removal, and fail to comply with a judge's voluntary departure order. Fines will range from $100 to $10,000 for various offenses. The Pentagon has released details about the top-secret bombing of Iran's nuclear facilities, including a 15-year mission to develop a weapon capable of hitting the Fordo facility. The strike targeted 3 Iranian nuclear targets on June 21, with 12 bombs dropped down ventilation shafts capped with concrete. Military officials say they need more time to assess the damage, but early intelligence suggests the strike may have set back Iran's program by months. A small group of young service members defended a U.S. airbase in Qatar from Iranian missiles, unleashing round after round of Patriot missiles. President Donald Trump's unconventional approach to clemency has sparked a wave of petitions from federal prisoners and formerly incarcerated people around the United States. Since retaking office in January, Trump has pardoned and commuted the sentences of over 1,600 people, including many political allies and former GOP office holders. The White House has received more than 9,300 petitions seeking commutations or pardons, with some prisoners using creative tactics to draw Trump's attention. Legal experts say Trump's approach has veered into unprecedented territory, with the president tapping a vociferous supporter to be the Justice Department's pardon attorney, and granting mercy to those who claim they were victims of a weaponized Justice Department. The optimism among prisoners is high, with some believing that Trump's open-mindedness makes it possible for them to win clemency, even if they had exhausted all other appeals. Former Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman will lie in state at the Minnesota Capitol Rotunda on Friday, June 28, 2025. The public can pay their respects from noon to 5 p.m., while the man charged with killing her and her husband faces court. A private funeral is set for Saturday, with former Vice President Kamala Harris attending. The suspect, Vance Bolter, is due in court to face charges of a political assassination that could carry the federal death penalty